Hello and welcome to the Strong, Healthy, Happy podcast. Today, on today's episode, I'm going to be talking about weight loss mistakes that I wish I knew about years ago. I'm going to share them with you so that I can help you not waste any more of your time in case any of these points resonate with you and you're currently using them as a way to support your weight loss goal. Now, they are very common. And we probably have all done them at some time or another in our life. But now, at the point that I've reached in my life, I want to save you any more time and effort by doing things that aren't supporting your health the way you want to feel and the very goal that you have as weight loss. So let me jump straight in, stop waffling, and get to the point. So, point number one is I would try and eat as little as possible. Now, perhaps you're currently on a diet or you're trying to lose weight or you've been going through a bit of a cycle and every Monday you start the cycle again and you tell yourself you're not going to have XYZ and you're going to stick to your diet and you're going to eat as little as possible because theoretically the less food that you eat, the less calories you'll be taking in, and the less calories you bring in means the deficit, the amount of calories you're in a deficit, will be bigger, and therefore theoretically you should be losing more weight because you're eating less food. Now, in theory, this sounds really logical, makes sense. However, you're not a robot, you're a real person, and eating as little as possible around your busy life, around a pressured life, around a working life, around being a parent or having commitments, pressures, whatever they may look like to you, isn't quite as always straightforward. And depending how much expenditure you're doing, how many steps you're taking, how active you are in general, will all affect your energy balance and how much you're eating. And you may start off being able to stick to a really low calorie target, or if you're not tracking, you just know that you're eating a lot less than you usually do. You may stick to that for a day, maybe a couple of days, maybe even a few days. But the problem with eating very, very low calories is that it's very hard to stick to past a few days. And what tends to happen is you might stick to your super low calories for a few days and then you can't control yourself. You end up overeating and eating way past the amount of calories you would have eaten had you just started with higher calories to begin with. Now, the other problem with eating as little as possible, apart from the adherence, which is a huge one, because it doesn't matter what calories you're on, if you can't stick to them, you're not going to be in a consistent calorie deficit that gets you results over time. The other issue with eating as little as possible is that you're not getting in as many nutrients as you could be from different food types. And depending what it is that you're eating, from eating as little as possible, you may be missing out on important macronutrients, especially protein, especially fiber from your veg and fruit, and making sure that you're having a diet that is fulfilling your health needs alongside supporting your weight loss goals. And it is not a healthy approach to losing weight either, because if you are currently finding yourself caught in a bit of a cycle of eating as little as possible and then overeating by a lot, if you look at, the sort of averages, you're probably eating over your calorie amount to be able to be in a deficit. If you're going too low, then too high. And it's about finding somewhere in the middle that you're able to stick to be able to choose healthy food choices, making sure you're getting protein in at every meal, having plenty of veg at your meals, eating lots of fruit, and of course, eating your carbohydrates. They're your body's primary energy source, and a little bit of fats just for hormonal health, and also fats add flavor and satisfaction to some of your meals, but keeping them in the smallest quantity. So think about with yourself, do you go through these cycles of eating as little as possible? and be honest with yourself. Can you stick to it? Are you overeating? And would you be better allowing yourself to have some more food, but be able to stick to it consistently throughout the week, whether it's a weekend, whether it's a weekday? So think about that. Another really big common mistake when it comes to weight loss is we think we have to, and I've been guilty of this way back in my past, where I felt like I had to burn as many calories as possible. So I would be doing lots of running outside, and then I'd go in the gym, and then I'd do more cardio. That was partly because I didn't know how to use weights in those days. We're going back like a good 10-ish years when I stopped doing this. But trying to burn calories, I hear it all the time, whether I'm in a running session or whether I'm chatting to someone who's on a cardio machine in the gym, is they're there because they want to burn calories. Or someone gets to the end of a run and they look at the amount of calories they've burned, as opposed to thinking about how much they've enjoyed the run and how good it's made them feel and how it's benefiting their health. Using cardio as a way to burn calories, again, in theory, it sounds reasonable because you're contributing to the amount of calories you expend. But increased cardio will also likely increase your hunger. And if you look at the amount of calories you burn from your cardio session, it's really not that hard to eat those calories back and more, because it's very hard to find that level of satisfaction if you've been doing excessive cardio or longer cardio sessions, because you're burning calories because you're going out to enjoy a meal later and you feel like you need to burn the calories to earn the calories, and you absolutely don't. It's a very, very unhealthy cycle to be burning calories to be able to eat food and to burn calories because you're earning your food. It's a very, very unhealthy cycle. And again, in the long term, it's not going to serve you well mentally or physiologically. And relying on weight loss from expending calories without paying attention to your nutrition is not going to work in the long term. You have to do them in hand. And it comes back down to energy balance, which is basically calories in versus calories out, and finding that sweet spot where you're able to eat a little less than the amount of calories that you're expending. And when I say the sweet spot, it's because the sweet spot are the calories that you're able to stick to. And often we burn if you're using cardio as a way to burn so many calories, it's very hard to eat in a deficit if the deficit is too big and you can't stick to it. So please do cardio to complement your training, your strength training, but not as a way to burn calories. Can't think about your reasons to do cardio. So for me, I enjoy running. I've run for years. I've done it since I was in my, late 20s. I've run for years, and I do it because it can be sociable. I love being outside in nature. I don't mind whether it's sunny, raining, or snowing. I run in all weathers, and I love the way that running makes me feel. And I run for my fitness and for my cardiovascular health and to complement my strength training. I don't use cardio to expend calories. I don't look at the calories I expend from cardio because I'm not interested in that. I'm interested in cardio as a way to keep fit and because I enjoy it. I do want to remind you as well that as part of strength training, you will still be working your cardiovascular system, especially on those bigger compound movements. The compound movement are what I call the bigger exercises where you're using more than one muscle group, like a squat is a compound movement, a bench press is a compound movement, a deadlift is a compound movement. And when you're lifting those weights and you're using repetitions in the right rep range for you, you will find you'll be using your cardiovascular system. So remember, you don't need to focus on burning calories to lose weight. And if I backtrack to point number one, you also don't want to be eating as little as possible. to be able to eat, to be able to lose weight. Now, another point where what fuels people to want to start a weight loss journey, and it certainly did me way back in my past, was hating myself into change, or jumping on the scales knowing that they were going to be higher to shock myself into losing weight. And I find I have this a lot. I hear it a lot as well, where, you know, it's like getting on the scales when you know you've not really been adhering to a healthy way of eating, you know you've been eating more. Jumping on the scales is really not, like, you don't need to jump on the scales to know exactly what those scales are going to tell you around about. You know they're going to have increased. So to use those scales to shock yourself, to take action and make change may work initially, but it's not going to work in the long term. And hating yourself into change is not really a positive way to go about taking care of your health. And it's reminding yourself that you deciding to lose weight is you showing yourself self-care, because carrying excess body fat carries health risks. It's not just about looking good or feeling better in your clothes. They're things that are definitely going to come as a byproduct of losing weight, and they should be celebrated. But don't forget about the important health issues of carrying excess body fat, for being in a high BMI range, placing additional stress on your organs and on your body, and being at risk of long-term illness and diseases such as heart disease and other metabolic diseases, diabetes, obesity, certain cancers as well. So there's lots of reasons to want to take care of your health and lose weight. It's not about hating yourself into change. Switch your approach to losing weight and taking care of your health is you showing yourself self-care, because you want to do the best by yourself. And when you make change from a positive place, it will change your mindset and your approach, because you can only hate yourself for a certain period of time until things don't go to plan, and then you lose sight of what your goal is, and then you wake up one day and you hate yourself even more, and then you try to make change again, and you go in this cycle. So switch it round to you doing these things, losing weight, improving your health, because you get to do these things, because you choose to do these things. You don't have to do anything. You get to do these things. And it's really, really important, if you haven't yet, ask yourself why you want to lose weight. Like, really why? And it's not enough just to say, because I'm going to feel better, it's going to increase my confidence. Yes, it will, but why? And why is that important? You know, what will having more confidence bring to your life? Will it mean that you can do other things because you feel more confident? Perhaps you've always wanted to play tennis, but never felt that tennis was the right sport to you, because, you know, you're carrying more body weight and it's not something you've ever thought was possible for you. So think a bit deeper than just about the appearance and the confidence. We know that will happen. We know that, but really ask yourself why, because your why you really need to have a strong reason why you want to lose weight, because your reason why is what will keep you going and keep you making the choices to support that goal, because you really, really know the reason why and why it's important to you. And don't accept your first answer why you want to lose weight. So if, for example, it's the confidence, well, why? What will happen as a result of you having more confidence? What will happen? Why will fitting into your clothes improve the quality of your life? How will it? Why will it? Get curious, peel back the layers and really think about your reason why, because it's such an empowering thing that you're getting to do. And having a clear direction and reason why is really going to help with your adherence and fundamentally the enjoyment of the process, because it should be enjoyed. It's not a punishment. It's not a way to hate yourself into change. It's really, really positive. It's very empowering. And it's the most amazing thing that you can do for yourself. And I really want you to think about that and to celebrate the fact that you're taking action and recognize the small wins that you make along the way to achieving your goal and improving your health and feeling much better within yourself. So remember to celebrate those wins. Now, I also want to talk about body fat and having gained weight. Now, there is nothing shameful or embarrassing at having gained weight, or perhaps you've always been from a child where you've always carried more body fat, and you've now in adulthood and you're still carrying more body fat, and you feel ready to make that change. Or perhaps you've gone through menopause, or you're approaching menopause and you have gained weight, or your lifestyle's changed, or whatever reason, maybe external pressures, whatever has happened, in life, our bodies aren't designed to just stay the same all the time. And sometimes you may gain weight. There is nothing shameful or embarrassing. So remove that stigma or those feelings and try not to label yourself as being fat. I am fat, because you are not fat. You have fat, but you are not fat. And there's a huge difference, because having fat changes it from being a real emotional attachment to yourself and your body and the way that you look and that you feel. You have fat. Body fat is stored excess energy, and energy comes from your food, right? Energy is a unit, a calorie unit. You are storing excess energy. But you know what? What's amazing is it's changeable. You can change it. So know that, and change the language that you're using about yourself. And it, again, makes it a more positive experience. And also, you're not labeling yourself as something. It's you have something, and we can change that so that you have less of it. It's changeable. It's really, really changeable. And that is with a diet that you can stick to, that you enjoy, and that brings you pleasure, and that enables you to live your life. It is really, really positive. And when you find that way of being able to lose weight in a positive, enjoyable way, you will feel so much more in control of your choices. You will feel so much more positive about yourself and the road that you're going down. And you will feel so much more empowered within yourself when you start to make these positive changes. You'll begin to feel good, and you'll notice that almost instantly. And when you feel good, you'll more likely continue making the very choices that you're making so that you continue feeling good. You will be impacting positively your health, as well as losing weight and all the other increased quality of life that you find as a result of improving your health and losing weight. For some of my clients, it's meant they can go hiking with their friends, whereas before they never felt they were capable of doing that. For another of my clients, she can now run after her young son. She can keep up with him, whereas before she would never do that. He would never ask her to do anything like that. And now that she is. For another client, she's back horse riding. She feels that she can do something like that, whereas before it may not have felt so comfortable to do horse riding. Other people are being more active with their friends. Another client has had the energy to dance all night with her girlfriends on a weekend away. So there are many, many positives outside of appearance and aesthetics, such as improved quality of life, long-term health, and of course your aesthetics. There is nothing wrong with wanting to improve the way you look and the way that you feel. Absolutely not. But it comes with so much more. Just remember not to lose sight of all the other stuff. Now, the other thing that used to go wrong for me when I used to try and lose weight was thinking there's an end goal. Like Weight Watchers uses the language goal weight. Now, my clients don't have goal weights. If they share a goal weight with me, I take it with a pinch of salt, because for a lot of people, they pluck a goal weight out from, their wedding day, or 10 years ago, or even 5 years ago. Like, these goal weights just come from a memory that you might have of yourself at a certain weight. But if you think about it, how did your life look then? How old were you? Did you have kids then, if you have them now? Were you at uni? Was your life a lot more active than it is now? Like, how did your life look? It's probably changed a lot. And so you have to be realistic. And aiming for a goal weight doesn't necessarily mean that, one, you can achieve it, and two, if you do achieve it, you still may not be happy there. And being a certain goal weight doesn't necessarily improve your life, depending how you got there and depending what you feel like when you do get there. Because it's like licking your finger and holding it in the air and seeing which direction the wind comes when you really don't know what you're doing. That's what aiming for a goal weight is. And there is no end goal, because losing weight and taking care of your health is a lifestyle change. It's not just a diet to lose weight and then go back to your former habits. Because if you go back to the former habits you had before you started losing weight and being, on a diet, for want of a better word, if you go back to your former habits, you'll end up right back where you started, to your former self, and you weren't happy there. So you can't expect to reach a certain weight and then think, oh, you can go back to doing what you were doing before. It is a lifestyle change. And whatever you did to lose that weight, it has to be something that you can see yourself doing for the rest of your life. And this is why fad diets, juicing, and the other multitude of diets that are out there, if you can't ask yourself, can I see myself eating this way for the rest of my life? Is it realistic around my lifestyle, my family, my social life, my preferences? Can I see myself doing this for the rest of my life? And if you can't answer yes to that, the chances are you're going to lose weight, but regain it, because you won't be able to do the very thing that enabled you to lose weight, to keep that weight off and to maintain your weight loss. So it's very important that you find a diet or a way of eating that you can maintain for the rest of your life. Now, there are hundreds of thousands of diets out there. And at the end of the day, all those different diets, they work on you being in a calorie deficit. They're dressed up, called different things, labeled different things. But at the end of the day, it's science. And to lose weight, you have to be in a calorie deficit, i.e., you have to eat less than your body expends. Doesn't need to be a big deficit. You can do it slow and steady with a smaller deficit. But however you want to dress it up, you're in a deficit. Whatever diet works for you, crack on with it. It's fine. But make sure it's one you can see yourself doing for the rest of your life, so that you maintain the results you get, and you don't go through this yo-yo dieting cycle, which happens so frequently. So if you're currently going back to Weight Watchers because it worked for you last time, it didn't work because you regained the weight and you're going back. That is yo-yo dieting. You want to be able to sustain the type of diet that you're eating to lose weight, to maintain it. Yes, you'll have a little bit more flexibility, perhaps a little bit more calories to get when you move into a maintenance phase. It's not as much as you think, but you need to be able to do what enabled you to lose weight for the rest of your life, which is why a healthy, balanced diet is so important, so that you can maintain this for the rest of your life. Because it is a lifestyle change. It's not just a period of time. It's not a 6-week shred, 8-week transformation. It's not a fad diet. This is you improving your health, losing weight, maintaining it, feeling your best self for your life. That's what we want. That's what's important. You don't want to end up where you were before. Now, the other really big thing that I used to do years ago, and you may still be doing, I hear this daily, multiple times, is labeling food as good and bad. Let me just let my dog in. Hold on. Come on. Oh, real life podcasting. Okay, labeling foods as good and bad. It's really distorting your perception and your thoughts and feelings towards different food types. Food is food, right? All food is made up of units of energy, i.e. calories. Some food is higher in calories than other foods. Some foods is more nutritious and some foods is less nutritious, but it's just food. Food does not have a behavior. Food does not be good or bad. Food doesn't sit on the naughty step. Food isn't rude to you. Food hasn't done anything to you. Food can't be clean. It can't be dirty. It can't be good and it can't be bad. It's not a sin. It's not a point. It's just food. It's just food. Now, when you label something as bad or good, it changes your behavior after eating that food, and it changes the way you speak to yourself also after eating that food. So if you perceive biscuits as bad and you want to have a biscuit and you eat a biscuit and you tell yourself, oh, I shouldn't have eaten that, that's bad, you're implying that what you've done is bad, that you are bad, you're bad for eating it, you ate a bad food, and then you get to this sort of crossroads where you think, oh, I've been bad. I may as well carry on being bad because I've been bad. And then you carry on eating another however many biscuits because you've been bad, so you may as well be really bad because you're bad. And then you end up having a bad day because you ate biscuits. And then your whole day is judged not on the merits of the day or the people you were with or the activity that you did or whatever you did in your day. Your whole day is now labeled as bad because you had what you consider as bad food, and you're now a bad person eating bad food, and it's affected the way you behave after eating that biscuit and how you talk to yourself. Perhaps you're pissed off at yourself. Perhaps you negative self-talk yourself. Why did I eat that? Why did I then eat 5 more? I'm bad. Everything's bad. As opposed to you ate a biscuit. I hope you enjoyed it. Accept it, move on, carry on with your day. It's just a biscuit. It's 100 calories, whatever type of biscuit you had. So around 100 calories. You have a lot more than that to eat in a day in terms of calories, depending on, your height, your weight, your start point, your adherence levels, etc. It's just a biscuit. When you label food as good and bad, and you can have the different reaction for good food. Oh, I've eaten such good food today. I'm having such a great day. I've eaten really good food. I'm being so good. Because when you're being so good, it just highlights those moments that you perceive you're bad. And this good and bad is really, really unhealthy. And it also leads to an unhealthy cycle of often I'm being good generally means I'm eating not very much, to I'm being bad because I've eaten a ton of shit food, so now I'm bad. And then you have this good and bad. Whereas opposed to you just want to be somewhere in the middle and be average, because average is easier to stick to and it's a much happier place. And so trying to call yourself out on the language you're using to describe foods, to describe your behaviors around those foods, is going to really hold you in good stead, because some food, like all food, can be included in a diet. Being on a diet, losing weight, doesn't mean you must never eat a biscuit. You must never eat any crisps. You must never have chocolate. Those of my clients who are listening to this and have coaching with me know that I include all food. I never tell anyone not to eat or drink anything. I give them the facts. I increase their understanding and their knowledge. I talk about food not being it's called food autonomy, where food is just food. And it really does help my clients and their relationship with food, because in order to lose weight, you have to have a relationship with food that's in a healthy place. Because otherwise, every time you try to lose weight, you're going to trip up at these points, whether it be doing too much cardio, whether it be eating too little in your day, whether it be labeling foods as good and bad, whether you're approaching weight loss as a punishment. All these different points I'm talking about in this it's not a check-in, in this podcast, these are things that trip you up in your journey to being a healthier, happier person, and as a byproduct, losing weight along the way. So making sure that you understand and increase your awareness to these things that may be tripping you up will help you call yourself out and overcome them and start to work on improving them. Now, this might feel something that is way too much for you to take on your own. And that's why online coaching really, really does help so many people, whether it's coaching with me or with another online coach. It helps so many people. And I know with my own clients, they are coming on leaps and bounds and they're losing weight when they never thought they would ever lose weight. And what's more is they're loving the journey. Their life is getting better. They're not feeling like they're being hard done by or resentful of the process. So if you need additional support, reach out to me, ask me questions, use the link in the show notes to apply for coaching, and let me see if I can help you. Now, 2 more points before I finish this podcast off. And the other points is trigger foods. You may have foods that you don't trust yourself around. They're often labeled as trigger foods. For some people, it might be Pringles, for example. For other people, it might be a dairy milk, bar of dairy milk. Could be anything. For me, it used to be Nutella. If you've been listening to me for a while, you've heard me mention about Nutella probably loads of times. But not buying it is increasing your craving long term. So it's a bit like the good and bad. You may not buy the trigger food for a while, but it will be all you think about. Maybe not straight away, but it will build up over time. And then you'll finally cave in. You'll buy it and then you'll overeat on it. And then you'll tell yourself, okay, I'm going to eat it all up, get it out the house, and then I'm not going to buy it again. And maybe you won't for a couple of months, but then you'll repeat this cycle. And actually what you're doing is you're not dealing with the issue of your behavior around this certain food type. And there is strategies and techniques to help that. It's a podcast on its own, so I'm not going to talk about it on this podcast. But again, raise your awareness to it. Banning them is like sticking a plaster on an issue that needs much more attention than a plaster. And it's something that I help clients with as part of coaching. I've got 2 more points. My final 2 points is don't underestimate the importance of sleep. We're so focused on eating less, doing more cardio, punishing ourselves and all the other things I've talked about, that we don't get a good night's sleep. We're up on our phone, we're scrolling till very, very late, and then wonder why we're not getting a good night's sleep. And then we blame menopause when we haven't set ourselves up to get a good night's sleep by coming off our phone, by reducing caffeine intake, maybe not having it after, like once you've had lunch, just no more coffee, reducing caffeine intake. Coming off your phone, having a wind down period and getting good sleep. If you have impacted sleep, it can increase your hunger, also reduce your level of feeling of full. So it's not very conducive to a weight loss goal. And no one feels good from having poor sleep. Your energy will be low, your motivation will be low, your mood will be low. So please get a good night's sleep because it will support your weight loss goal. Final point is not aiming for perfection. We all think like we want to have good days, and I use that terminology, I've had a good day, implying that if you had a biscuit in your day, it makes your day bad, when it doesn't. You just enjoyed a biscuit. It's fine. It works. You don't need to be perfect in order to lose weight. You might think you do, but you don't. You will make more progress when you embrace imperfect action. And imperfect action is being able to do the very best that you can, considering the circumstances that you're in. That's what imperfect action is. I sometimes call it being consistently imperfect. It's exactly the same thing. Embrace not being 100%, because what happens when you aim for perfection is when you don't hit it, you perceive you failed, and then you give up. And this is when you perhaps make poor choices or think, oh, well, I failed, I might as well really fail now. And then, make choices that don't support your goal and actually take yourself further away from where you want to be, had you just accepted that things aren't perfect but carried on anyway. So don't embrace imperfect action. And to make this a 10-point podcast, the last one I'm going to touch on is understanding how scale weight works. And I've done separate podcasts on this. Please scroll back and look for them. How to use scale weight, I think it's called. And I've done another one, why scale weight fluctuates. Understand that scale weight fluctuates and know that it's normal. You are a human being, and there are so many factors that affect your scale weight fluctuating. Remember, the scales do not just weigh body fat. It weighs your total body weight. That's your blood, your muscles, your water, your fat, your organs, and so many things in life affect your total body weight and the amount of water that you're holding. So please, if your scale weight fluctuates, don't let that ruin your day. Try to detach that emotional attachment. Accept that, oh yeah, scale weight fluctuates. What am I going to do? I'm just going to carry on, and you will be absolutely fine. If you are currently taking only one scale weight a week, it's not the most accurate way to take your scale weight. Please listen back to my podcast where I talk about how to use scale weight accurately. But if you do weigh yourself and it's fluctuated up, just carry on. Just keep doing all the things that you would normally do in order to support that goal. Hopefully you have sort of taken a few points away from this podcast. Maybe you can resonate with a couple of them. Think about what I've talked about. Think about how you can apply it to yourself to set yourself up for success. And please share me with your friends. If you know anyone that's struggling with weight loss and would benefit from listening to this podcast and any of my podcasts, please share the link, forward them the link. And if you are interested in coaching, I have limited spaces left. We're moving into September soon. I am about a couple of places away from being at full capacity. So if you're interested in coaching, please do get in touch. Use the application form in the show notes and I will reply. Have a great rest of your day, and I look forward to catching up with you on the next one.